Welcome to the GCN Tech Show. This week we've got Ollie back from his top secret mission.
In Italy, yes. And we are discussing how big bike brands are changing and why.
We also have Hot Tech where we discuss Storck's new aero bike, and we've kind of got like an eco-friendly Hot Tech special. We've got undyed kit, we've got titanium and steel water bottles, and we've got new tyres made from fishnets and soybeans. Yeah.
Let's do it.
So this week we're discussing the fact that big bike brands are changing. We're talking about the likes of Trek and Specialized, who in the past have previously had loads of different models of bikes. So had the aero bike, the lightweight bike, the gravel bike, the aero gravel bike, the commuter bike, the super commuter bike, the endurance bike, the sportive bike. The list goes on and on.
Yeah, the even lighter lightweight bike.
Oh, and that one as well.
Yeah, and then all the different group set models and spec option builds available on all those bikes. Like it looks like. Have you ever watched Kitchen Nightmares? Gordon Ramsay.
Once or twice.
Well, okay. So the classic thing that Gordon Ramsay does whenever he walks into like a failing restaurant.
Oh yeah.
Is he basically says, "You've got too much on the menu. You need to like reduce the menu and just focus on a few things you do really, really well, and just double down on that." And it means like it's easier for the chefs, and you have less, ingredients
stock in your fridge.
In the fridge, going off, and like, you can just really focus on the quality of like a smaller number of things. And I think that analogy works quite well as to explaining why it's beneficial to bike brands to do this.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So are we now saying that bike brands have watched Gordon Ramsay Kitchen Nightmares and gone, I've got a great idea?
It's looking that way. I think the other thing is that psychologically, and there's lots, big companies, employ psychologists to look at this stuff, and there's been research on it, but it's that thing that I'm sure many people will appreciate, and the same applies when you're looking at a menu. When you have too much choice, you're like, what on earth do I choose? And then you like end up choosing nothing because you're just overwhelmed by the number of choices. Whereas if you slim it down, it becomes a lot easier for people to make the choice.
Okay, so let's give some examples. I mean, when we mentioned Specialized at the start of the show, they originally had the Venge and the Tarmac. Then Venge has been...
And the Roubaix.
And the Roubaix. Venge is gone. They kind of made the Tarmac.
And they have other ones as well. Yeah. The Diverge.
Yeah. And so they're getting rid of models, trying to make ones a bit more all-roundery. But other brands have kind of done that as well. Pinarello, is it the F8 when they started to do that?
Well, I think like Pinarello are probably like the first sort of... They were one of the first sort of brands in the last sort of 20 years to really do that. Well, I wouldn't say the F8 actually, because they had the K8 at the same time, which was the one with suspension on.
Oh, actually,
remember the K8S Wiggins rode in his final Roubaix with the little dampener?
Yeah.
But then they were like, no, we're not going to make a Roubaix comfort bike, and we're not going to, we're going to just make one. And then they brought out the F10. Yeah. And then that was like, it's the kind of all-round bike, it's everything. So it's kind of quite, it's like, it's the all-rounder, it's the aero bike and the lightweight bike.
So you think that's what brands are trying to communicate? They've gone, this is the best all-round bike that we can make, rather than differentiating and splitting them out. Because whatever way you look at it, if you want the lightest bike, it's never going to be the most aero bike. And if you want the most aero bike, it's never going to be the lightest bike. Yeah. It's about finding that balance.
There is that thing, but what it's quite good, and it's the same with Specialized with what they did with the Tarmac.
Yeah.
When they got rid of the Venge, and they just said, this is, and then the riders all just ride the Tarmac all the time, it's quite good because it simplifies it for the consumer, and most people are only going to buy one top-end bike. Yeah. In an ideal world, you'd have the specialist lightweight bike, you'd have the specialist aero bike, but realistically, most people are just buying the one all-rounder. And in many instances, you want an all-rounder. You want a bike that's kind of competent in all different areas, because the rides that you're doing aren't polarised.
But then I think it's also cool that people can have that choice if they do want to be focused on one aspect or the other. But I guess that's, you pick and choose from different brands, because Canyon, for example, they've still got their not quite polarising bikes, but a lightweight.
Well, I think they do,
Yeah, a lightweight and an aero model, and they've gone down a different kind of route with their business strategy, I guess.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that bike brands are changing because they need to. They need to somehow reduce their operating costs and, trim the number of models down that they make, or in some way they need to do this sort of thing. And there's different ways I think you can go about doing that. And one of them is by not having an aero bike and a lightweight bike and combining them into an all-rounder. That is one way you can do it. And they need to do that because the industry, as we've talked about in shows, is in a tough spot.
Yeah.
And
brands
are like in trouble. Like brands are sitting on a lot of stock, or they're going under in some cases, and they need to remain more competitive.
Well, just purely from a really rudimentary logistical point of view, you're going to literally half the amount of stock that you've got. If you don't have a lightweight bike and an aero bike, you've got one. Well, you've got half the amount of stuff now.
Yeah, but I think there are other ways in which you can do it. So, maybe you streamline your production in other ways.
Yeah.
So you could still offer a lightweight bike or a full-on aero bike. You can then just streamline things in other ways, offer fewer models. Offer different, we see brands have offered in the past 3 or 4 different carbon layups. And it's like,
do we need that?
Just offer 2 or maybe even just 1. I don't know. And then that is the bike. There are different ways you can go about it. But I think that you're never going to lose the out-and-out aero bike or the out-and-out climbing bike, because say if one brand just decides to make an all-rounder and focus on that, if there's enough demand for an out-and-out aero bike, another brand will come along and make that their speciality, and they will.
Do you think that's partly why we're seeing it continue on? Because brands go, well, if we don't make an aero bike, someone else will make it. Do you think that's the thing?
It can be, but it's ultimately driven by the market, isn't it? It's driven by what people actually go and buy. And this is the thing. When, I went to the Pinarello factory last week in Treviso.
On your top secret mission?
Yeah, but what was really fascinating was they're one of the few brands that still makes a rim brake bike. And I spotted 2.
So 2 is low numbers if you're still going to manufacture something, isn't it?
No, but they're still making a rim brake bike, but people aren't buying it. Yeah. This was in their, so they had a rack full of the bikes that were being custom painted as part of their
Pinarello
My Way Pinarello, where you can spec it how you want it, custom paint, amazing. And so these customers can get the exact thing they want. And in this rack of 100 bikes, there was 1 that was rim brake.
Yeah.
It's like manual cars. People always bang on about how they're
just not as popular anymore.
Why Ferrari not making manual cars, and no one buys them.
So my sort of thoughts on this, imagine I'm starting to, we're starting the bike industry from fresh. I think it would make perfect sense to slim down the models overall, but instead of feeling like you're limiting people's choice too much, I think it's a case of simplify the bike model ranges and increase the ranges in terms of components and fit. Because for me, that's the area that I think it could be improved. We're talking saddles, handlebar widths, stem lengths, all of the individual components, rather than sometimes when you feel like you buy a brand new bike, you're almost channeled into, this is the bar it comes with. If you don't like it, see you later. You can spend £800 later on to fix it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not always the case because there are brands going about it in a good way, but it would be cool if we saw that more broadly applied.
Yeah, and I think, on the one hand, Pinarello has just the, that one shape of bike that they make, that's the all-rounder bike, that's seen throughout their range. But then they also make more sizes than a lot of other brands, which is a good thing.
True. Yeah.
That's a good thing from a fit perspective. So what you don't want to see is a brand try and become more profitable at the expense of the customer. So it's if they, one of the ways they could do it would be reduce the number of frame sizes they make, or reduce the number of options they sell. But I think while we don't necessarily need so many different bikes with different specs and components on, what Trek currently make, there's tens and tens and tens of different models of a Monda or Madone on there, and of different levels with different specs on them. And we don't necessarily, I feel, need that as customers. But what we do need is the option, like you say, for the contact points.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that the bike is right, so you want the options of bars and stems and crank lengths, and that's where you want.
This is one of the luxuries that we've had in the past, because previously we've ordered new Orbea bikes, and Orbea have gone, look guys, create a Myo bike on their website, you can choose the handlebars, whatever, send us the order, and then they manage to supply us a bike, which is exactly how we've chosen it to be, which is a really cool thing.
Yeah.
We want to see that more, basically.
Yeah, like Orbea, full transparency, like Orbea are a sponsor of us here at GCN.
Help support what we do.
Yeah, but
other brands are going about it as well.
Yeah, other brands do approach it in that way, but most brands don't. But that, top marks to them for having that model where you can say, I want this stem length, I want this, this chainring size, I want this bar width, I want this saddle. I feel like all brands, when it's a top end bike, I feel, and you know what you want to buy, I feel like all brands should do that.
All right, well, that's kind of like our thoughts on it. Please do let us know in the comment section down below how you would shape the bike industry, because I think it's an interesting subject to discuss, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, it's now time for hot and spicy tech, and we're kicking things off this week with the new Storck Air Fast 5, which they are claiming now tests as the fastest aero bike in the Tour magazine test, I believe.
Yeah, we need to clarify the Tour magazine test.
Yes.
So Tour magazine, a long-standing German magazine that loves testing and quantitative data on bikes. They put bikes in stiffness jigs and all sorts of stuff. One of the things they do is this aero test, but that test is not done with a rider. It's just the bike in a tunnel.
Yeah.
And it's 45k an hour.
Correct. Yeah.
But the thing to realise is that, yes, while that is not the full picture, it still is a useful and repeatable test that they can do. And I believe they always test it with a 56 centimetre bike. And it's far more repeatable, to do that than it is to just have a different rider.
It makes sense, right? If a bike tests fast as the bike, common sense tells you it would still be fast when you put a rider on. But that's not always the case.
It's not the complete picture, but it's still useful information.
So anyway, off of this information, the Storck Airfast 5 suggests 195 watts is all that's required for the aerodynamic drag at 45 kilometers an hour, which is the lowest ever.
Interestingly, though, it relates back to what we were just saying. So you do typically see that those all-rounder bikes do actually sit at a slight sort of 10 watt, give or take, penalty over the out-and-out aero bikes like this one, and the Canyon Air Road is another good performer in the Tour magazine test.
Well, it's fair. So full builds of this bike started at just over €10,000, 890 grams to the frame. I think it looks cool. The fork is super wide and out there for me. Well,
it's definitely taking or making use of the new UCI regulations, allowing for those deeper profiles on the fork and things like that. We've also got some exciting new kit.
We do. Let me get this kit for you.
Oh wow!
I really wish. I'll put my back. I wish you could model this. So this is from Ahu.
Wait, are they white bib shorts?
They are white bib shorts. Right, let me give you some information here. So this is their undied and nano earth kit range. We've got a few little bits here. So they're expanding their product line within their 6.6 range.
6.6.
Yep. So they're using undyed fabrics to help try to make cycling more sustainable.
Okay.
So there's not just the plain white.
Wow. Alex, these have a white chamois.
We've got, white chamois is pretty out there by my standards. So this is the undyed stuff. As you can see, it's literally undyed. But also within the range of making more sustainable cycling kit is the stuff with a very slight colour to it. And this is from what's called the Nano Earth range. So for the coloured 6.6 items, Ahu are using...
Do you know when we rode our lap of Mallorca?
Yeah.
And I uttered the eternal words, I'm afraid to fart because I think it might be a poo.
I'm never going to forget that phrase.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be even more afraid to fart, even if I didn't think it might be a poo, wearing white bib shorts with
white
chamois.
Look, white as a colour is not necessary for everyone, but this, I get the ethos of what's behind this in terms of trying to make it more sustainable and cool. I really like it. as I was just trying to tell you about the Nano Earth range, it uses a special dye which results in this natural wash look to the fabric.
Nice.
Available in the Ahu Spring Summer collection for 2024. I think it's cool.
It's nice. I like these. I like these pastel shades.
Yeah, I like it. It also ties in nicely, actually, if you do want some new kit. We've got some good bundles available at shop.globalcyclingnetwork.com for the Ahu stuff and the core range. So we've got stuff for whatever your budget is.
Who should we get to model the white bib shorts?
Definitely Dan. 100% Dan. Why would anyone else do it? Right. Moving swiftly on from white shorts, what have we got? We've got new water bottles to discuss.
Oh, where are these?
They're underneath here. Look at this. Oh, shotgun the titanium one. So Camelback are actually one of our channel partners, but what they have released are the steel and titanium podium water bottles. So the idea behind it is it helps keep your drink really cold, but also there's that sustainable element to it because something like this is going to outlast a plastic water bottle like many, 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 many times over.
Yeah, like that is a thing. As cyclists, we get through a lot of like plastic water bottles and bidons.
Yeah.
If you're French or pretentious, they don't last like a long time, and they scuff up a lot as well. And they want to make something that's more just a more sustainable, like longer lasting product.
It's also very nicely made. I've got to say, it's like there's something special about it.
This as well. This steel one, which steel's more hygienic as well, stainless steel.
I knew you'd get a technical element in there.
But it has a vacuum sleeve in it.
Yeah.
So it'll keep your drink cold.
I've got some stats as well, because I know we all love stats.
Yeah.
Titanium bottle, 340 grams, keeps your drink cold for up to 7 hours. In the steel bottles, you've got two different sizes, a 530 or a 650, like that big boy. Where you've got either 18 hours or 14 hours of cold drinking experience. Prices, like bear in mind this is going to be a more expensive product, especially once you involve titanium. £100. And this big one, 40, 35 for the slightly smaller version.
So that's that is a lot of money.
It's significant.
But it's built to last.
Yeah.
So this is like designed to be a bottle that you would just have forever. You get that, and that's your bottle for life.
The key thing to mention is, because I think lots of people are going to wonder this, is how on earth do you drink from it if you can't squeeze the bottle? Well, there's an innovative valve on the
I know.
cap.
I just pulled that out.
Watch this, right? Watch this. This one's got water in it, right? Isaac will cut that out and fix it.
Oh god.
Right, shall we move on? Shall we move on from that? Next, what do we need to talk about, Ollie? I've still got a wet mouth. Sorry, everyone.
Oh, where are we at? Tyres.
Tyres.
Yes.
Victoria's new tyres.
Yeah, Victoria got some new tyres that are, again, eco-friendly, like I was saying.
Yeah.
They're made of soya. It's like soya.
Soybean oils and recycled fish nets, as in actual fish nets.
Stockings?
Not fishnet stockings. I knew you were going to say that. So, yeah. Don't worry, all of your old fishnet stockings are not being turned into tyres. That's a rubbish joke, really, sorry. Anyway, back to the sensible stuff. So
Why would you make a tyre out of soya and fishnet stockings?
Well, so the idea behind it is that you're taking products which are maybe not traditionally used in manufacturing techniques, that maybe would have been waste products or byproducts from different industries, and then you turn them into something good.
In chemistry, what we'd call soya is a green feedstock.
Yeah, okay.
That's because it doesn't come from like fossil fuels and stuff.
So the tyre is the Vittoria Tirano Pro T60 mixed terrain. It's made of 92% renewable and recycled materials. So instead of using nylon, they're using an organic cotton casing with nylon reinforcement made from those fishnets. And then
Nylon is organic. It's made from carbon.
And then the additive material that typically makes tyres black isn't used, and oils that are used to bond all the materials together have been replaced with soybean oil.
Did you know that tyres, rubber isn't black?
I did, like, It was in the back of my mind, but I feel
I
like
didn't know this.
naturally wanted to assume it's
I
that.
feel like my whole life was a lie up until the point where I realised and was told that tyres are only black because natural rubber has an additive applied to it to make it black, usually in the form of like charcoal.
Well, I mean, the colour of these tyres is kind of pretty cool.
It's like when I was young and I used to think that in the olden days it was black and white, and then it turned into colour one day. Anyway, that's not the only tyre news we have. Can
I finish
Right,
first?
finish your tyre news.
So it's not just an eco product, it's also performance-based. So Vittoria saying 10% improvement in rolling resistance, 10% improvement in grip, 10% better ride comfort, 34% better sidewall puncture resistance. There's a lot going on there.
There's a
Over
lot.
to you.
What's it called?
Terrano Pro 260 mixed terrain. You weren't listening.
I wasn't. That's because I was too excited about this, which I managed to steal from the Pirelli factory last week on my top secret mission when they weren't looking.
Don't show everyone.
I found a bin that had these in them, and they say prototype on.
Wow, so that might hint that there's a new Pirelli tyre coming at some point in the future.
Not only that, I had my magnifying glass out and I was watching Milano San Remo at the weekend.
Yeah.
Mads Pedersen had these.
Fair.
So there you go.
Ollie did manage to convince Pirelli to give us 2 sets, one for Ollie, 1 set for me, and Mads has got the third set.
So it's Mads Pedersen, it's me, it's Alex, the Trinity.
The absolute pinnacles
the Trinity
of the sport.
The 3 best riders in the world have got the prototype Pirellis. We don't know anything more about them other than that.
I'm intrigued to find out more. No doubt Pirelli will tell us when they want to share the information. But keep your eyes peeled. Basically, subscribe to GCN Tech, turn on notifications. When the top secret new tyre launches, you'll be able to find out all about it.
Yeah.
Right, more hot tech next week. It's now time for comments of the week.
You tell them. Right, go.
First comment of the week. I thought this was cool. So last week, Manon and I mentioned a new Prologo saddle, which Prologo claimed was to be the lightest saddle in the world. Bjorn Cycles have been underneath the tech show and said, "Dear GCN Tech team, we would like to inform you that for the past 2 years, we have been manufacturing the Sector saddle weighing 134 grams. We believe it is the lightest saddle with a 3D printed pad." There you go. I thought it was cool that they mentioned that.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Well, there you go. Correction.
Yeah. Also,
from the Bjorn team.
One other comment as well from Ed Romero. If you can't ban things during the season, how do you enforce the rules? Manufacturers put out equipment at any time of the season. Well, I said you could ban stuff if it was safety related.
Yes, but everything has to be approved. They can't just buy. People can't just turn up now with equipment and use it in the way that they used to. It has to go through UCI approval. And that's going to be a big thing. It was a big thing for the Tokyo Olympics, and it's arguably even a bigger thing now for the Paris Games that's coming along.
Yeah.
Like, there's a huge, big approval process, and that was, I think, the problem. They had approved that helmet.
And then went back on it, backtracked.
Yeah. So, anyway, on to the video that we did about the best bike we could buy for 450 quid, $500.
Yeah.
And Caribbean Cyclist says, "It doesn't matter what bike you're on, the view doesn't change." Gold.
Was that a line from you in the video?
Yeah. Right. Although I can't take full credit from that. I'm going to have to give the credit from that
Credit
to
your source.
Cameraman Nick. Thanks, Cameraman Nick.
Go on, Nick.
That was some gold from Nick Race.
That's actually really cool.
There we go.
Neil Down South says, "More of this, please. GCN should be like 105, the channel of the people, brackets, with some luxury eye candy sprinkled into, of course."
Yeah, I think I totally agree. And that's like, if you want to see more of that stuff, like, watch it, share it with your friends, and then, that's
well, we took that exactly on board because the very next day you made another similar video.
Oh, that's it, right, yeah.
Where we did £500 new versus £500 used, kind of like trying to explain what yields the best bang for your buck.
Yeah.
Anthony,
you go. No, you do it.
Okay. Says, "Thanks, Ollie, for showing how enjoyable biking can be for the entry-level rider by comparing bikes. I think sometimes we scare people away by the high-end cost of bikes, forgetting that we once all rode those lower-tier bikes." Very true.
Yeah. We've got a really cool video in the works where, like, Sai, Alex, and I are going to be buying some used bikes, right, for our budget is £1,000. Okay.
I think it might have stretched slightly out, but that kind of margin, yeah.
And we're gonna. No, it is. It's £1,000.
Oh, it's £1,000.
And you don't overspend. And we're gonna then do like an epic ride on them to show
I'm
you
really
what you
looking
can get.
forward to it.
So that's coming. That's in the pipeline because we want more of this stuff because we know that you guys want it to. So thanks for your comments because it, like we say, this channel exists because of you guys. So keep letting us know what you want to see more of, and we'll do it.
God, that felt like it came from the heart then. I like that.
It does.
Yeah. Right, it's now time for the bike vault. That's enough philosophical Ollie there.
Right. Firstly, the bike vault, where you submit your bikes as pictures, and then we judge them to be nice or super nice. You can submit your bikes down below. There's a link in the description for the uploader.
Yeah.
Go on there, follow the instructions. It's dead easy. Submit your bike, and we will then ring the bell if they're super nice.
Yeah.
Who have we got first this week?
Ingo first with a 1007 Unicorn from Hamburg.
In the Elba Tunnel.
Yeah. Wow, this thing's funky. It's
Oh, I'm digging that. That's a cool location.
yeah, that is cool.
That is really cool. Is that like I'm not familiar with the Elba Tunnel, but I'm guessing it's some kind of like purpose-built cycling infrastructure.
Yeah, it feels like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I like it. Super functional. It's actually really well presented as well.
Yeah, really good. Super nice. Oh, John with a 1978 Peugeot PY10.
Love this.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Or, if you're a Philistine, a Peugeot.
Peugeot.
Yeah.
Oh, I really like that. White bar tape's incredible. I can't really fault it. The only thing I'd like to see, if it was in the big chainring.
I'm impressed with the cleanliness and the upkeep of that shed wall.
Lovely.
Behind the bike.
Yeah, and for that alone, super nice.
Super nice.
Glenn next to the Fuji Team Pro from 2009, location Australia.
Oh.
Oh, this bike, it says he's repainted it himself. I like that.
Yeah. Didn't spend much time on his fence though, did he?
He's moving on to the fence next weekend.
Yeah,
Give
looks
the
like
guy
it.
a break.
Looks like it. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. It's good in it, that one.
I'm not sure the colour's like my personal preference, but hey, it's not my bike.
That's a super nice, that
Yeah,
one. It's a
super
really
nice.
good bike, yeah.
Okay, next we've got
Fatness.
2024 Hansling AR A1R0
And
Evo.
they're in the US of A. And bonus points, right? It's got a wax chain, freshly waxed. Right?
Dreamy.
There you go. And
They've also said it was shot with a Nikon Z9, a Nikkor 85mm S-series prime lens at 1/320s f/5.6 ISO 100 in RAW. Mike's laughing at me because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Do you know what? It shows.
Does it? I'm pleased it shows.
Look at the quality. Look at the quality of that image. Look at that.
That is actually cool.
Look at that. Look at the depth of field going on there. But not only that, the lighting, the way that the foreground is, the bike is popping.
It is.
You know, like look at how bright it is, how it stands out. And although
I don't want to judge, but what's going on with the saddle angle?
I mean, that is.
There's
something going on with that saddle, isn't there?
The bike's cool.
There's something.
If that saddle angle works for you, who am I to judge? That's what I can say.
Yeah.
So
I think you are judging.
Yeah. Okay, ignore everything I've said.
Despite what I say, he's judging you because of your saddle angle. I'm going to say that is super nice.
Super nice.
Yeah. Ross with a Vitus ZX1. Or, if you're in America, ZX1.
Oh, you're just going to make people hate us.
I know.
Right, okay. What do we actually think of this bike? Let's be sensible. It's the last bike of this week. I think the valves are aligned. It's in the correct gear. It's a shame that it's sort of vaguely lent against
It just looks like it's been chucked in the forest.
I think the bike is nice. I just would have appreciated a tiny little bit more time in terms of the preparation.
That's not the optimum location.
No. So for that basis alone, we're going to go just a nice on this?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, it's just a nice...
It's a super nice bike, but it's not a super nice photo.
But you could resubmit it with a different background.
I think so. We can't let any old riffraff in.
Okay, right, that's it for this week's show. Ollie, it's been great having you back. And it was really interesting discussing how the bike industry perhaps could change. So yeah, do let us know in the comments section down below. And as always, if you want to support what we do, subscribe, turn on notifications. See you later.
Love you, bye.